Happy snow days! Whoa! Well, hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Kevin.
And we're the McFalls, a family of 6 with 4 kids.
And a cat.
And maybe coming soon.
More pets, maybe.
We're gonna have a video on it. Who moved from America to Germany in February of 2021. We are coming up very soon on our 1-year anniversary. It was Valentine's Day of last year. So we'll have a video about that too. And yeah, so we're excited to share with you today our reverse culture shocks. And so thank you so much, all of you who wished us Happy New Year and wished us well on our travels to go back to the US. You were also kind and truly, genuinely concerned about our plane travel and staying well, you know, because Omicron is like everywhere. And you guys are we just have the best community. You guys are just so kind. We just got hundreds of messages and DMs and everything. Everyone checking in on us. And thank you for understanding. We took our good 2-week break and it was really nice for us both to not be working at all and really just get to focus on seeing Kevin's family and then seeing my family. And it was really nice.
It was. And now you can see we're back in our bedroom. And so we're back home, getting back to our lives again.
Yeah, we were really jet lagged coming back. Going from Germany to the US, you travel during the day, so the jet lag isn't so bad because you arrive in the evening and then you can just go to sleep. Yeah. But going from the US to Germany, or I guess anywhere in Europe, you usually leave in the evening. And
arrive in the morning having missed the night.
Yeah, because, it's like impossible to sleep in coach. I mean, you're like in this like teeny tiny little space and they actually expect you to be able to sleep. I mean, it feels like torture. I hate trying to sleep in coach. It's awful.
Yeah, you just don't like flying.
I don't like flying.
It's relaxing for me. I just sit there and watch movies.
Yeah, you didn't sleep either.
No,
Kevin was so tired. His eyes were red when we got back. He was so tired. We were so tired when we got back. And it was hard to leave because the kids and both of us really enjoyed seeing our families. Yeah. And that is the trade-off of living abroad. I would say is the biggest trade-off, that if you're close to your family, close to your grandparents, parents and all of that, moving far away from them, it's hard. It's not enjoyable. We don't like that part. And it's a big trade-off. So I want to give a little disclaimer about these reverse culture shocks. I have a ton of them, so I'm just going to go through the list quickly. I've got them all here on my phone. But don't take any of these too seriously. This is not like a razz on American culture. Before moving to Germany, even though we had both lived abroad before, Kevin in Sweden and France and Japan, and that's a lot of places. And me just in France.
You visited some other places too. So.
Yeah, I've been to Scotland and traveled all over Europe, but
China, don't forget you went on a trip to China.
I did do a summer abroad in China, yeah. And so what I've noticed is when going to China or going to Japan, I knew the culture between the US and China would be a lot different.
Very different.
But if on first glance, moving from the USA to Germany, doesn't feel like it would be a huge cultural difference, right?
Still the Western world.
Yeah.
A lot of the pop culture, Hollywood drives pop culture here still to a large degree. And you hear English language music on Bayern 3, you hear a lot of, American pop culture.
So a lot of American citizens have German descendants. So you would think, there is some German culture in the U.S. So what I've noticed after living here for 11 months and then going back to the U.S. was that there's lots of little tiny cultural differences. None of them really matter. Like one way isn't better than the other, but well, some of them are. Some of them I am going to razz on America for. Some of them matter, but most of them are little tiny differences that don't matter one way or the other. But when you add them all up together, you start to feel like, whoa, okay, I am out of my comfort zone. I feel like a fish out of water. I'm not comfortable here. This is going to take a little while. And that's what I noticed with moving to Germany. It took me a little while to get comfortable. And in only 11 months, I feel like we did get comfortable because
this is our home now.
Yeah. But also going back to the US, I didn't feel uncomfortable. Everything sort of just came back like I'd always done it before because I've lived most of my life there. So
you never forget how to ride a bike, right?
Exactly. Or walk or, yeah. All right, so let's go through our list. So this is sort of in order as they happened. I just kept a running list on my phone as we went through the 2 weeks. So walking off the plane and into like the terminal to go get our bags and everything, immediately I started noticing that there were people walking around talking on their cell phones really loudly. Something I haven't heard in 11 months since living in Germany. And I really like that.
And people just in general aren't on their phones as much here.
They're not on their phones. Yeah, you don't see a lot of scrolling and stuff in Germany like you do in the US. But I mean, there are people talking so loudly on their phones, Americans, that I thought they were talking to someone else. I was looking for, like, who are you talking to? Or are you talking to me? It would distract me. But immediately I noticed, whoa, people are louder. They really are louder here.
So then when we walked out of the airport, we were greeted by our family that were picking us up in 2 vehicles because there's 6 of us. And
a lot of luggage.
And a lot of luggage, and people come to see us. And they were 2 big American cars. One is a big pickup truck to have all of the luggage in, and the other is a big minivan. Sure, we have a minivan here. We've got the VW Charan, but it's not as big as a Honda Odyssey. They're much bigger there. So yeah, and you go out in the parking lot and just every
car.
That's
what I was struck by was the parking lot.
Yeah, every car is an SUV.
Oh my gosh, the cars are so big.
Trucks and Suburbans and
I felt like I had shrunk.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I got bigger, I got smaller, and everything else got bigger.
And it's funny.
Some of the trucks, the hoods come up to like my height, which I'm not that tall, but they're tall.
I mean, on the flip side, when I'm parking here in Germany, she's always making me stop and let her out of the car before I park. Because I pull in the spot and she's like, I can't get out of the car.
I literally can't open the door.
What am I supposed to do? I'm exactly in the middle of this space. Maybe I'm 1 inch to my one side, the other. I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. And she's like, I can't squeeze out of the car. So
I'm not that big of a person.
The parking spaces are definitely much bigger there because the cars are much bigger.
Yeah. And I have to say, I like bigger parking spaces. Yeah. Of course, America has way more land mass, so I understand why they have bigger parking spaces, but I like bigger parking spaces. It's nice not to have to worry so much about, I got to get my car in this little tiny spot. Your car is smaller in the EU and in Germany, so it's easier, but still. And also, we rented a car when we went to Asheville. Mm-hmm. Some of Kevin's family lives in Asheville, so we rented a car.
It was a Toyota Sienna, what we rented.
And we were like, oh my gosh, this thing is giant. Like the dashboard was huge. Everything was huge. Like the kids were like so far back. It was so long.
And the trunk was big because in my Charan, I have to put the suitcases in long ways. I can put them the other way and stack them all by themselves. We had lots of space. I had all the space in the world when to put all of our luggage in. Which it's a lot tighter in the Charan that we have here.
Yeah. So I have to say I liked the space. It's nice being in a really big car. It's nice having big parking spaces. Of course, the ecological, the environmental impacts are not good unless they're hybrids or electrical cars. That makes it
well, the one we had was a hybrid.
And the one we had was a hybrid.
But still, it only got about, I think I calculated, it was only 40 miles a gallon. I have to convert that into...
Well, that's better than the 21 miles a gallon I would have gotten without being hybrid.
Yeah.
That doubles it.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Probably doubles it.
So we'll have to do that conversion for liters per kilometer. So I didn't make that conversion, so maybe we'll have to put it on the screen.
Okay. engineer, and watch our last video. So I said we are going to go through the list quickly, but that one I guess we really got into cars. But that is a big thing in America.
Americans love their cars. I mean, Germans do too, but in a different way.
And Germans have great cars too. So, yeah, and as we drive from the Atlanta airport out to the suburbs where my family lives, I'd forgotten what the suburbs look like. Like here, the suburbs are a little tiny village with a little church steeple in the middle. I don't know if it looks like that. Well, we've seen other parts of Germany, and everywhere we've gone seems to look similar to where it does here in Bayern. But
even taking the S-Bahn out of Munich, and you'll go past some woodlands and forest, and then you come to a town, and there's a little church steeple and a little playground,
red roofs.
Yeah, you go through a little bit and more of forest, and you come to the next town. It is
very cute.
Even in the suburbs of Munich, it's like that.
Yeah, and so what you notice in the America is the urban sprawl, where you don't have a concentrated town center. Everything is spread out,
right?
Which is why Americans can't walk everywhere. They have to drive in most places. Okay, 99% of America, you've got to drive everywhere. And it's because everything's sprawled out. Yes, there's so much space, and they can sprawl out, but it's terrible for gas mileage and for burning gas in your car and not getting enough exercise and all that. And we've talked about that in many other videos. But I did notice that right away. I was like, gosh, it's just concrete and commercial buildings everywhere. Where's my cute little German village with the red roofs and snow and little church and,
Instead, you've got strip malls and big box stores.
Strip malls are ugly. I've never liked them since I was a kid. So yeah, I mean, there's a loss of charm. Now, you're going to find old town centers all over America, that were built in the 1800s or early 1900s. But you have to drive into the town to see them. You're not going to see them from the highways and major roadways. And they're also going to be very small. And some of them are run down and not. Anyway, long story, but
much more charming here.
Yeah, there's a lot more charm. Okay, we were at a hotel surrounded by stores. You guys, I still couldn't even walk to the stores. There were no safe pathways to get down to the store because there was like a hill, but there was no pathway down the hill to get to the stores. And I was just like, what a missed opportunity. I could be walking to the store right now instead of driving 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Click, click,
She's
click,
wearing
click.
her high heels.
So cute. So I just thought, this is so sad. Here's the store right there, and I can't even get to it. And there were also stores across the highway. Were there any crosswalks? Were there any ways for me to walk across safely? No, I'd get hit by a car. And I was just like, this is so sad. And I love that about most of Europe, and especially here in Germany. We walked to the grocery store, we walked to the eye doctor, we walked to the pharmacy, we walked to school, to the dentist, to our friends' houses, or ride bikes. But actually, all those things we can walk to. To the bakery and to the Metzgerei, to the butcher. There's probably other things. Oh yeah, the bookstore where we got all the school supplies. We walked to the bookstore. Yeah, it's awesome. So I missed walking. I did not get my 10,000 steps in every day, which I really like doing. So of course, the biggest thing was the language. When we were going through customs, the customs officer said hello, and I said hallo. And Gabriel was like, "Why did you say hallo?" And I was like, "Oh, where are we?" But we had just landed. So I was thinking in German. I couldn't remember what I was supposed to say. The kids got confused a few times and were wanting to say things in German.
Yeah, we go to the rental car place, and Grayson's like, "Oh, right. He's not speaking German." "Oh, yeah, all right." And it's just,
"Daddy, why is he not speaking
German?" And it's just so much easier. You don't have to think. You don't have to think, and it just flows, and you just go, and it all happens. And so that was very nice to not have to worry about going somewhere and not being able to express yourself or not knowing what to do. So that was nice. It
was easy to communicate, and we noticed that right away. I was like, "Oh wow, I'm not having to think before every single verb conjugation." And do I use unserem or unser? Those kind of things where you really have to know the grammar and know it well. Okay, so we stayed in a hotel in Asheville. Masks were not required there, but highly recommended. That meant basically no one was wearing a mask because they don't want to wear masks. The customers, all the employees had to wear masks. And then I went into a Target, which is a big retail store, a really popular store in America. And there's a huge sign, that says, "Wear a mask."
masks required.
It says mask required.
I mean, it's not the law there. Well, actually, in Asheville, it might be. I don't even know. Where we're from in Georgia, it's not required by law. But stores will say it's required because they want it to be in the stores. But nobody listens to, well, not nobody. There's a good third of people maybe that are not wearing masks.
Not at this Target.
Yeah.
There was probably 90% not wearing a mask.
Oh, yeah.
I felt weird wearing a mask, and honestly, I was worried that I would get dirty looks or get heckled or something, because there's people doing that. They're getting mad at other people for wearing masks. It's like, it's ridiculous. And so I put on my mask because the sign was asking to, and I wanted to be safe anyway, and I'm used to wearing a mask here in Germany. We wear it everywhere. It's really no big deal as long as your mask is clean. Otherwise...
Yeah.
And you must brush your teeth. Otherwise, it's really bad. I was really surprised by how few people were wearing masks and completely flaunting the recommendation of the store, which what I hate about that is that it puts the pressure on the store employees to have to enforce the rule. Well, they're not bodyguards. They're not police officers. They're not security officers. You know, these people are not equipped, and it should not be part of their job to have to make adults behave. And there's a lot of news stories about people, you know, having arguments in restaurants and stores about having to wear masks. And I didn't see any arguments, but I could see how easily it could happen. And I thought that was sad. So one thing this also has to do with like COVID is that there's been a lot of shortages in the U.S. because many boats have been backed up in the California ports, I believe. And many ships and cargo ships have been backed up. That's not happening so much in Germany. So I have not seen lots of empty shelves around here. But oh my gosh, I was shocked by how many shelves were empty in the U.S. You know, in the U.S., we're used to these huge stores.
Everything's
with a
stocked.
massive amount of products.
Stacked to the ceiling of everything.
I mean, things must expire and, you know, and go bad because there's so many of them. So I've been hearing about it in the news, how there's a lot of shortages with empty shelves. And it was interesting to see it in person instead of just see it on the news.
Yeah, it was not completely widespread, but there were a lot of stores you'd go to and you could tell that they were low on inventory.
Yeah. And they were also short-staffed at the hotel, short-staffed in restaurants. There were so many signs all over the place that says, please be kind.
Patient.
Please be patient, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, you have to ask people to be kind.
That's where I'm razzing on Americans. Your mama taught you to be nice, and you better be nice. I don't even know anyone who would yell at someone in a store or in a restaurant. That's nothing anyone in my family or my friends would do. Same with Kevin's. So these people are probably few and far between, but still,
it does happen.
Yeah, and so a lot of people are quitting their jobs in America because they're tired of being yelled at about having to enforce the mask laws or the mask rules, and because they're short-staffed and they're having a lot of trouble getting the food to the tables quickly enough in restaurants, and people getting mad at them because the food isn't coming quickly enough. And
well, even one of our kids' friends went over to their house, and the mother said that she had just quit her job and put in her 2-week notice because she was tired because they were short-staffed and they were having to work really hard
and work
overtime and all this stuff, and she was just getting pushed around. She's like, I'm just going to go back to school and study some more and get myself bettered up so I don't have to go back to that kind of job.
And a lot of people in America are quitting their jobs because of what's going on. 2020, I think, also helped everyone reevaluate what I really want to do with my life. Do I like this job? That's part of it too. But so it was interesting to see all that in person because I've been reading about it on the news. Another thing quickly, and a little bit of a razz on America, plastic bags absolutely everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're given a plastic bag. And every time I went into a store, I was like, don't even give me a plastic bag. I can just walk out of here without the bag. But, you know, people should be using cloth bags. It is widespread in continental Europe. People are using their own cloth bags and have been for decades. America's so behind on this, and there's just no excuse for it anymore. I don't have the patience for it anymore. So yeah, I'm razzing on America for this. Stop using plastic bags. It's just ridiculous. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But it does depend a little bit on where you're from. Like in California, when I went out to San Jose, I go to the I went to it wasn't even just a grocery store. It was just like it was a souvenir shop actually. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't have a bag, you know, but I wasn't used to it in America. So it depends a little bit where you're from.
That's true. There are some states and some counties and towns doing a great job but it's I mean, I would not say it's widespread at all in the U.S. So every German misses the bread when they go abroad. Did we miss our bread?
Yeah, we were very happy to come and go to the bakery on the first morning when we got back.
As soon as we got back, we're like, let's go to the bakery. Yeah, I mean, I love my breakfast. I always have a yummy piece of bread, a roll, a semmel, and I missed it.
I couldn't find any German beer either. I went to the grocery store, and usually, I mean, this is a store, it's not the exact same store, but the same chain that we used to go to, and go to the imported beer section, and they didn't have a single German beer. I had to settle for Belgian Leffe. That was the closest I could get. Sorry, Belgians. So yeah, couldn't get any German beer at my local grocery store.
We used to be able to get Franziskaner.
In Pennsylvania, we got Franziskaner. But it was the König Ludwig.
Oh yeah, König Ludwig.
That we got at our old grocery store.
Yeah, our favorite was always Weissbier.
Yeah.
When we used to live in the U.S.
Yeah.
When we went to Asheville, I had left all my toiletries at home with my family, so I had to go and buy toiletries. What I noticed is I wish there was a DM because the prices at the Walgreens I went to were a good 3 or 4 times more expensive and full of toxins, okay? Not non-toxic products at the Walgreens. If I go to DM, I would have spent at least half of what I spent at Walgreens, and I would have had non-toxic safe products. I've done another video on that. It's my DM haul, and I talk about how the EU bans way more chemicals than the US does, and I really missed that while I was there because I had to read ingredients again and be concerned, oh no, what is in this product, and is it going to give me a rash? Is it going to harm me? And in Germany, I don't have to worry about that as much. I mean, you still have to do a little product reading because there's still fragrances and things, but it's a lot better in Germany.
And so when we did stay at the hotel, we had breakfast was included, but it wasn't a good German breakfast. It wasn't that Swedish smorgasbord. It was, stuff came out of the freezer and then you put in the microwave. It
was gross.
Yeah,
it was downright gross. I mean, I didn't even eat it.
The waffles weren't bad.
Because you can make them yourself.
Make fresh to order waffles. But the breakfast
it was obviously frozen crap that they bought in the frozen section and stuck in a microwave. I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, where's my pension, my German pension breakfast, where you always have your soft-boiled egg and your bread.
And salami and
fresh
slices
fruit.
Of cucumber. And
And there was not even any fresh fruit. This was more of a budget hotel, but still, they could have like a couple of bananas or something. I was like, man, German food is good and it's healthy. And which brings me to my next point is like in the airport, as soon as we got back to Munich, it was easy for me to find fast food that is healthy, that is not fast food, that is
like a
fresh.
Bakery sandwich.
Bakery sandwich that has meat and lettuce and cheese and is real and has real bread.
Yep.
And in the U.S., it's McDonald's, it's Chick-fil-A, it's Arby's, it's all these fast food places. And it's actually very difficult to get fresh food in the U.S. unless you're going to like Subway or go get a sandwich from a grocery store. You have to go inside the grocery store.
Yeah.
But it's pretty difficult to get food that isn't fried or fake, basically.
Yeah,
you really have to look for it. Or make it at home yourself, of course, which many people do who want to eat healthy.
Hard to do when you're on the move.
Yeah, but when you're traveling around the U.S., you don't have a kitchen maybe. So it's so nice that in Germany, you would just pop over to whatever bakery, which they are absolutely everywhere, and get yourself a delicious sandwich that is filling and hearty. And it's all you need is that one sandwich. So I really missed my bakery sandwiches. It was the first thing I bought in Munich when we landed. We all did.
Yep.
So quickly about water. I really miss sparkling water. I have fallen in love with sparkling water since living here in Germany. It was hard to find it at all in the U.S. I mean, you can find it in grocery stores, but most restaurants aren't serving it, and fast food restaurants aren't. So I really miss sparkling water. And ice. Ice is used in the southern U.S. It's not so popular in the north.
Every American fridge has the water dispenser and the ice dispenser right there built into the refrigerator. So
which is nice and convenient.
It's very convenient. And it is nice to have when you're used to having very cold drinks, that.
And in the South where it's hot, it's nice to have cold drinks.
Yeah, definitely.
Here in Germany, it doesn't get nearly as hot as it does where I grew up in Georgia. So it's not so necessary. But I found that the water was so cold with the ice in it that it hurt my teeth. And, I've drunk cold ice water my whole life living in Georgia, and I loved it. I love the ice. I would chew the ice. Not good for your teeth. Don't chew ice. I had to get used to that when we moved to Germany. I just, I was like, oh, I miss ice. But after a couple weeks, I didn't miss it anymore. So then that was truly a reverse, like, relearning. Oh yeah, that's right. Water is cold here, and my teeth hurt, and yeah, that's right. I can get ice. So yeah, I still like ice, but it was a weird change.
And speaking of hot water, the first time I got in the shower, and I step out of the shower, and the mirror is all fogged up, and I'm like, oh, where's the window? I got to open the window. I got to do something. I got to take some action here to get. And so there actually wasn't anything to do. I guess you can turn on the fan. Most bathrooms have a little vent fan that can suck it out a little quicker. And actually, that can sometimes prevent it from getting all fogged up in the first place. But yeah, I was like, I got to go open a window. That was my first thought when I stepped out of the shower and saw the foggy mirror. But no, didn't need to do that.
Yep. Which that's another thing in the bathrooms. I love how in Germany you can always find a toilet bowl brush next to the toilet, and you can keep your toilet nice and clean. And there's almost always, even in public bathrooms, I've seen a bottle of toilet cleaner. And I really missed getting to clean out. I know it sounds really weird. How could you miss cleaning out a toilet? That's weird. But anyway, I wanted to clean out the toilets, so that I don't like using a dirty toilet. And I couldn't. There was no toilet bowl brushes in the hotel and no one's houses. It's not a thing in America. We don't have toilet bowl brushes. So I missed that. And I think it's very handy. Now the toilets in Germany have more of the bowl of the toilet. I can't believe let's go into detail about toilets. The bowl is different. It's more flat. In America, it's more like this. So there's less of a need for a toilet bowl brush, but still, it can still get dirty. So I like that. I missed my toilet bowl brush. When we were at Kevin's sister's house and my mom's house, I kept looking for eggs on the counter. In Germany, you leave your eggs on the kitchen counter. You don't put them in the fridge because they're not bathed in a chlorine bleach bath. So they don't need to be refrigerated. So I kept looking for the eggs. I'm like, where are the eggs? Why are there no eggs? Oh, that's right. They're in the fridge. So I kept having to remember to open the fridge to find the eggs. And then the very last thing is there's way less roundabouts everywhere. We really love how, this is the same in France. I imagine maybe lots of continental Europe has roundabouts, but they're very convenient. You just keep moving. They're safer than traffic lights.
Yeah.
So we noticed a lot less.
And I think, I don't know, I'm not a traffic expert. From my understanding, traffic circles work really well when it's sort of light to medium traffic.
Yeah.
And when you have like super heavy traffic, it just gets bogged up. I remember in Boston, there are actually a fair amount of traffic circles in Boston.
And it's more of a European style city.
Yeah, indeed it is. And there's times when it's just crazy. You have to fight to get in the traffic circle.
Okay.
But there's plenty of places in the suburbs where we used to live in Georgia, where a traffic circle would be very appropriate. Mm-hmm. And there actually were a couple places that they had put in. It was a four-way stop. And then they put in a traffic circle, and that does help the traffic to flow much more smoothly than having to stop, at that four-way stop. So I don't know. In some places they're getting the idea, but you're right. Mostly it's four-way stops and traffic lights, and there's very few traffic circles around in Georgia.
Oh, and the last thing is the autobahn.
Yeah.
We missed.
Yeah, I can only go 65 miles an hour.
We were like, this is so slow.
Yeah, it's like 130 kilometers an hour is like the fastest that you can drive there. So, yeah, and then when we got back and we pulled out onto the autobahn from the airport, and the car goes right by you.
Yeah.
And so
I had forgotten how fast cars can go. Not all over the autobahn, all over Germany, but in certain spots you have the unlimited speeds for those of you who aren't German. So
yeah, on the trip to Asheville,
Kevin, you said so many times, this is so slow.
Yeah, I can only go 130 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, and this is a good spot for me to go fast, and I can't go fast, Yeah, so you feel like you're more trusted as a driver in Germany. Like, I took my driver's test, I know what I'm doing, now you trust me to know when I can go fast and go slower.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess it feels like Germans for the most part are They follow the rules. I mean, that's what the stereotype is for Germans. And when there is a speed limit, it's mostly obeyed. And I also feel like the Germans let you, if you're trying to put on your blinker to get in, a lot of times you'll get let in. In America, they might not. So it just seems like people are more considerate of those around them. And if you are more considerate, then it's less dangerous to be driving fast because people are looking out for each other a little more. So,
which I've noticed in studying for my driver's test that I'm taking to get my driver's license here. There's a lot more laws about being considerate of others, and that's not, I mean, that's not in American culture, no. Okay, guys, so we have gone on long enough. We actually could tell you 10 more things, but and so I hope you liked our long rambling list of reverse culture shocks.
You said you were going to go through them real fast.
I know, I did not.
It never works.
But this is a much requested video. We've gotten so many people asking for this, so I hope that you enjoyed it and it met your expectations. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will see you next week in our next video.
Cheers!
Cheers!